Within the last 2 weeks, we've heard increasing talk about a CBDC. 2 weeks ago, we examined the FedNow network. In the last few weeks, the BIS has announced something called Project IceBreaker, which essentially was a collaboration between the BIS and 4 other countries to quote unquote test a CBD system. Let's dive into this. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all had a great weekend, despite the Taproot lizards pretending that a bunch of JPEG collectors are quote unquote taking back Bitcoin. Yeah, no, you're not. Nobody cares about your JPEGs. You just don't know yet. Anyways, that's not what this clip is about. This clip is about a very ridiculous story coming out of the BIS and this project to implement the CBDC called Project IceBreaker. So let's dive right into this shit show and see what is going on. Project IceBreaker concludes experiment for a new architecture for cross-border retail CBDCs. They don't want to just call it cross-border payments because Bitcoin already fixes that. So you got to create a little bit of an illusion that you're offering some type of advantage or something different. Anyways, it's always bullshit. But let's take a look at this little crappy video. We're not going to watch the whole thing. It's 5 minutes of indoctrination, but we are going to take a look at the beginning of it. Here we go. We're going to watch this video that explains the new.
Communicating or sending large amounts of data around the world is cheap and easy. But sending money to another country is usually expensive and slow.
Not with Bitcoin.
The way money travels across the globe relies on many intermediaries, increasing the complexity, time, and cost of transactions.
Keep in mind, this whole entire video pretends that Bitcoin doesn't already exist, okay? So just kind of keep that frame in the back of your mind while you watch this indoctrination shit show. I mean, this informative video about financial technology.
One of the main difficulties is that most payment systems are designed for domestic payments, not for international payments, and often do not communicate with similar systems in another country. The reasons for this vary, for example, due to differences in legislation and technical systems, and different...
So look, this has nothing to do with differences in politics. This has nothing to do with any of that shit, okay? This all has to do with businesses maintaining their moat and their relevancy. You can throw all this shit at the wall that you want. You can give all the excuses in the world. Oh, the legislation, it's the numbers, that the currencies don't line up. No, it all has to do with maintaining the business's relevancy and making sure that they are part of the equation, right? Because let's face it, if you are not the one facilitating those transfers, then you're freaking useless. So it has nothing to do with legislation. These moats are put in place on purpose.
Similar systems in another country. The reasons for this vary, for example, due to differences in legislation and technical systems, and different working hours in various countries. The development of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and the underlying technologies that can be used could offer a solution. CBDCs used between consumers and merchants are known as retail CBDCs. Retail CBDCs could offer advantages such as faster transactions, more competition in payments, lower risks, and safety in the form of central bank money. Countries around the world are researching.
I'm sorry. Increase safety because it's central bank money. So I want everyone to just really think about this, right? The entity that is most likely to censor you, okay? The entities which are most likely to freeze your accounts, to tell you where and when you can spend your money, okay? Are now going to be they are going to be the ambassadors of this safety and this open system. This is gaslighting. These people are creatures. They are creatures of humanity. Anyways, all right. I think we've watched enough of this video. Let's dive into the bullshit of this article. Here we go. The Bank of International Settlements and the central banks of Israel, Norway, and Sweden have concluded Project IceBreaker, which studied the potential benefits and challenges of using retail central bank digital currencies in international payments. All right, so you see what's happening here, right, guys? 3 weeks ago, there was no such thing as a retail CBDC. And now they're making it clear. Now there's a distinction. So there's going to be central bank digital currencies between the banks themselves, which are most likely going to employ networks such as the FedNow network, right? So the interbank transfers. But now there's going to be a retail CBDC. So you, the lucky little peon, can be asking for permission from the central bank to be able to buy some food, maybe buy some gas. Oh, we're so lucky. So lucky to be asking for permission. I'm so happy. The project tested the technical feasibility of conducting cross-border and cross-currency transactions between different experimental retail CBD systems. I honestly wish that the BIS would have looked into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was doing everything that they're doing for much cheaper, and it started doing it back in 2009. Anyways, I know, right? Bitcoin is not controlled by the right people. It can't offer the governments the levels of control over their population. So therefore, Bitcoin is not a viable option, because it makes it so that everybody is on a level playing field, because anyone, regardless of their jurisdiction, okay, if they have the means, then they can acquire or they can get paid in Bitcoin. Very, very different. It is a system of pure inclusion, whereas all of our banking systems are systems of entirely exclusion. Anyways, let's keep going. Project IceBreaker sets out to explore specific ways to interlink domestic systems. A cross-border transaction is broken down into 2 domestic payments, facilitated by a foreign exchange provider active in both domestic systems. It's called counterparty risk, and that is a central point of failure. Therefore, retail CBDCs never need to leave their own systems. Aha! It's not a real peer-to-peer transfer. It's not like Bitcoin. Okay, it's not the real thing. All that's happening is you are being tricked into asking for permission yet again. You're going to ask for permission from this entity which provides liquidity to both systems, this exchange provider which gives access to the services on both systems. But keep in mind, this system is independent of those 2 systems. These guys are such ridiculous crap. It's unbelievable. And it's so sad, because you know what? So many of us are so hopelessly lost and confused and just working paycheck to paycheck that we really can't take the time to examine all of this crap and call these people out on it. But it's okay. They lose. Don't worry. They lose in the end, because human freedom, the desire for freedom, outweighs all of their ridiculous megalomaniac crap. In most existing cross-border payment systems, the payer has no choice regarding the exchange rate, as it has no control on who the provider of foreign exchange conversion is. This is funny. In the model developed by the IceBreaker project, many foreign exchange providers can submit quotes to the system's hub. Listen to what I'm about to say, which automatically selects the cheaper one for the end user. How do you know that's the cheaper one for the end user? It's being done automatically. Who wrote the algorithm that chooses that? And who is that algorithm going to favor? Oh God, it is just such insane shit. And they know that the average person looking at this, number one, doesn't have the time to really analyze it. Number two, most likely doesn't understand enough about the financial system to be able to figure out that it's just another Rube Goldberg machine. They're just making you take 5 steps to do 1 step again in order to maintain their moat. They have to stay relevant. The banks have to stay relevant. The central bankers have to stay relevant. This entire world, okay? This entire world is held hostage to this fake money system. These people aren't just going to give this up. They're not just going to walk away and say, oh, Bitcoin won, we're done. They beat us to the punch. No, they are going to lie. These institutions are going to use every means possible to get you to believe that their system is free. Their system is what's best for you, and it's not. The competitive setup mitigates the risk of insufficient liquidity in the desired currency pair, which can drive fees up and even delay the transaction. The IceBreaker system implements the use of bridge currencies if transactions between 2 specific end currencies are unavailable or not favorable, promoting competition among foreign exchange providers. Honestly, that sounds just like a shitcoin. That sounds just like stablecoins. This whole scenario sounds like what Bitcoin solved back in 2009. And here they are pretending again it does not exist. And guess what? The amazing thing about Bitcoin is the asset and the network, right? There's the little b and the big B. What's great about this is that the liquidity is always there. So again, they're trying to fool you into thinking there's going to be liquidity problems. I may not always be able to move my money around. I need to get in on this system where they're looking out for me, making sure that I can transfer funds. It's all fucking bullshit. Excuse my language. It's all bullshit. Anyways, wrapping it up. The project also demonstrated that the hub and spoke model can reduce settlement and counterparty risk by using coordinated payments in central bank money. After we did that story last week about Unicoin and this whole bullshit universal monetary unit, this whole crappy fake network of shitcoinery, I saw a whole bunch of influencers go and drop the same information. I think it's safe to say that that is just a huge marketing ploy. I think that this information from the BIS is unfortunately a little bit more trustworthy. And I say unfortunately because, let's face it, nobody really wants a CBDC. Nobody actually wants a central bank digital currency. It is the complete opposite of freedom. It stands, a CBDC stands for everything that we humans who desire freedom are against. I mean, it is just absolutely, it's insane that so many people are ignoring this. And I can understand why. Until you've been censored from a financial institution, you will not understand how important it is to have censorship-resistant money. Being somebody who has been censored from the banking system on more than one occasion, I can tell you that when it happens, even if you are innocent, you are guilty until proven innocent in the banking system. Like, I don't give a shit what somebody else tells you, and they're like, no, that's not true. Yeah, it is. Because you're frozen off from your accounts. You cannot spend your money. And I say your with asterisks, because it's not really your money. It's theirs, and we're asking for permission. Anyways, guys, the CBDCs are coming. The BIS, look, the central bankers, they understand that Bitcoin makes them completely irrelevant. The layers that will be built on top of Bitcoin are going to make them irrelevant. They completely understand this. They need to onboard as many people as possible, as soon as possible, into the CBDC system. And they need to make sure that people buy that narrative hook, line, and sinker. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you all tomorrow.